From the card, it's time to create our payment instance with Stripe. If you click in the proceed to checkout, you see the checkout will apply soon, and this coming from here in the card, we have one handle checkout function where we just keep that a toast message. Now here, what you need to do, we need to create a function. So we're gonna render that, but before creating it, we need to also get several things. One thing is that we need to go in our stripe.com to grab the credential for Stripe, and from this Stripe we need to get two things. Now from there we'll get one Stripe secret key, and I will let you know how you can grab that Stripe webhook secret. So these two will be responsible to grab to create the payment instance from there, and then directly inject that order in our Sanity database. So we're gonna populate that things. To first, let's go in the dashboard. As I'm signed in, if you're not signed in, it's very simple and easy. You just provide your email, then go on. It will be super simple. Now let's go in my dashboard, and from the dashboard, if you just need to create a new application there. And when you're using the Stripe, you need to be just keeping patience, because it's sometimes it's just getting a little bit of slow, but it's working perfectly fine. Okay, so here I'm running my e-commerce app and it's in test mode. So now what you need to do is to create a new application. As you see, create a new app and you are good to go by having that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a new application, and it's pretty simple to just go with that. So it should be e-commerce app YT, and with that I will just keep the country of operation as United States and then create. And after creating, it will automatically shuffle my account with that particular like the app or project I created right now. As you see, I'm now here e-commerce app YT. So from there, as you see in that for developers, there is the publishable key which is not required. We'll just work directly with the secret key. If you click it from here, it will also copy it. And if you are roaming, also you can just go in the developers tab. And from the developer tabs, you can click on that API keys, and it will be also available in the API keys feature. You can reveal the key and then directly grab the key, and you need to just make that key, you need to paste that key here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna paste my key and then close my .env file. So here is my secret key. Now one more key is pending. What is the Stripe webhook? We're gonna get it later. So I'm gonna close that. And now you can feel free to go in that developer tabs like the developer tools for Stripe, or you can search for that Stripe documentation. And from that documentation, you can easily get how the payments thing can done. You can click on the payments, and from their payments, as you see, it will be like you can go with that create subscription. If you click in the accept online payments, which we are going to do right now, you're gonna accept the online payment, and as you see, we're using the Next.js, and now you see that's the simple checkout resistances here. You can feel free to go there, or if you also can go with in other example here. So there is a lot of things. What I'm suggesting you, feel free to just go and explore a bit here, how you can go through the things, how you can understand which methods can really work for you. It just depends on you. So what I'm gonna do for right now, I'm not gonna do that. So one more things need to be installed right now is this Stripe, and it's pretty simple way to do that. I'm gonna take one of the another terminal, and from there what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just install that Stripe. So npm I Stripe, that's it. So with that command, Stripe will be installed in my package. As you see, now that Stripe is not supporting that Next.js React 19 yet, so I need to go with that flag legacy pair dependency. So let's try that, and legacy pair depths. So now it will install that one. So what I'm gonna do right now to create the parameter that how we can go and fetch the data. So first thing first, we're gonna just create a function here. So I'm gonna do here we need to also grab several things. As you see, the loading parameter is still here, so means we are good to go. And first thing, I'm gonna make set loading as true. So whenever this function going to be running there, set loading, it will be true. Then I will use one try catch block, means try, it will be getting the error. If we have the error, we can just make that console log console.error. So it will be available to log the error message. So it will be error creating, let's say, checkout session. And here we're going to derive the error directly. And that try catch block also passing another value which called the finally. So in that finally block, we're going to make that set loading as false. So means at the function start, we are making as a set loading is true, because first instances our set loading by default is false. It means till the payment is handling, like when we click on that payment proceed to checkout, we need to make the button as disable and also need to showcase the text, right? So you will not click like you click one time then click again, so the multiple instance can start workout, which we're gonna stop right now. So right now we're gonna also create from directly here, we're gonna get the metadata. And how we can get the metadata? So to do that, let's say const meta data, and it will be similarly a metadata value here. So we're going to create that value. So first thing, it will be an object, and what kind of things it will be available in metadata, that's we need to understand. So in the metadata, we're going to just pass some of the values, how it will just go and render the things. First, these functions, like normally when you're creating that payment instance, we are calling directly the API, but now today we're using the server action, not the API. And to create that instances, the server action, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close all, and at the top layer of our project here, I'm gonna create one directory again, where I'm gonna lay out all my actions. It will be there. Okay, so the actions I'm gonna keep in here, and in the actions I'm gonna create a new file which will make that create checkout session.ts file. Okay, this file will be responsible to create the checkout instances, and we're gonna make it like you can directly say it export const, or make the export, you can directly say that export, or we'll go with the async function. So that will be the function name, it will be there. So create checkout session, and in the params right now I'm going to keep it like that. Later on when we are going to inject the other things, we're going to keep the params here. Why I'm come back here, because I'm gonna define my type directly from here. So it will be export interface, and here I'm gonna passing my metadata, and that metadata it should be taking the instances of that order number, which will be a string, and after that it will also take that customer name, which also going to be a string, and after that it will be take customer email. Or instead of keeping that things directly here, there is one more file where we're handling all of our types, remember? So that's we are maintaining here that this types is injecting by Sanity, right? So either you can also create one more type for you there, you can keep that also, if it depends if you want it to, right? So as I'm maintaining one types file, that's why I'm just not going to create another types, that's why I'm keeping it here. If you're just keeping in mind that we can directly inject the types in the all the type file in types parameter, right? But I'm now injecting with that action function, because wherever I need that right now, I can just directly call that like import from here, and as you see, actions create metadata. So that's the data I'm just importing directly from there. See, the metadata is right here. So now in the metadata, as you see, we need to pass customer order number, we need to pass customer name, customer email, and Clerk user ID, the user ID which we're gonna grab from here, because as you see in the card we have user, right? So that user we're gonna use to create that user ID also. Now let's pass the order number. In order number, we're gonna use that crypto to create generating that number. We're gonna use a random UUID. And by default is pre-existing build here, no need to install any package there. Then it to provide that customer name, which will be user, and in the user, if we have the full name, only then it will provide. Otherwise, if there is no full name provide, it will just go with an unknown name. That's it. And after that, we need to also provide the customer email. So user, and in the user, that email addresses, which is an array, and from there, and you can log the user data. So there you can find where is an array and how is providing the array structure. Now directly here we will get, if we have, so we are taking the first email, right? So if we user having the email address array, as you see, I'm making that question mark just to providing the null check, means if it's available only then it will take, so my application will not break out, right? Now if a user have the email address array, from there the first one I'm getting the like simply getting that user email. Otherwise also I'm gonna pass unknown properties if it's not there. Then we need to provide the Clerk user ID, which will be user.id, and of course I need to say whatever user I'm forecasting here, it will be available, don't freak out. Now that's the metadata which I'm gonna pass. So right now what it will be there, const checkout URL. And why I need to do that, because right now we will directly, like from the server, we're gonna catch whatever data we are passing, then we're gonna like from the checkout, like on proceed to checkout. Once we click on that, from that function it will be returning one URL, and I'm gonna show you how it's gonna return, don't worry about it. So it will be checkout URL await, and here we're gonna make that create checkout session, and there we're gonna pass that group items, the items we have at top, and also you're gonna pass our metadata, right? So that's the two value we're gonna pass. And if the checkout URL is there, only then what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that, like let's say log, we're gonna just keep it a log, and we're gonna say checkout URL, and we will just directly log that checkout URL if we are having that, right? So right now, and I think pretty much that's all. So we're gonna just go and grab to create other properties within the function layer. And here I need to first, before going in depth on that, what I need to do, I need to create the Stripe instances, right? Otherwise it will not working perfectly. So what I'm gonna do, as you see in I think there will be a lib file somewhere. In the lib, as you see, there is an utils is built here for C and for the CSS class variables. I'm going to create a new file here, and it will be my stripe dot, let's say, ts. Okay, so this file, it will be responsible to create the Stripe instances. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to import Stripe from Stripe. And also I'm gonna define, okay, what's wrong here, there is saying something Stripe is clear, but it's Stripe, yeah, it's just taking a bit of time to find the module. Here I'm gonna define, like, if Stripe is not like in the process.env, and here we're gonna pass that our Stripe secret key. If that key is not available, we are just going to pass one error, right? So what I'm gonna do, if that Stripe secret key is not available, means no Stripe secret key, let's just throw a new error so that we will let it know that the Stripe secret key is not available, the Stripe secret key is not set. That's the error it gonna throw. Now what it gonna do, if we have the Stripe key, right? If we have const Stripe is equal to new, from that Stripe we're gonna grab this Stripe, and it will be process.env, and then our Stripe key, and that Stripe key it will be as a string value. So for the TypeScript we need to define that, and here we need to pass the API version, the latest one, which is 2024 1120 Acacia. So that's the one we're gonna use, and directly you can export it here indirectly, like you can just call it export, it will work perfectly. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it as a default export, so it should be export default, and there let's pass it as Stripe. So now we have the Stripe, right? So what we can do, as we having this type, we can directly inject that Stripe parameter within our application layer. So in that parameter on that function, now this function going to inject with two separate value, right? One value, it will be the items, right? So it will taking the items, which going to be grouped items. Let's say grouped card items. Is it not coming? Okay, let's see what we are passing. We are passing that grouped items and metadata. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna passing an interface here. So should be export interface. It will be grouped cart items, and in this interface it will be simply as product, and that product it will be cart item, and in that cart item will directly just create a single product layer. And after that also this product layer, it will also going to get a quantity which just going to be as a number. So we have the two parameter. So in that method, what we're gonna do, we're gonna first grab the items, and that items it will be grouped cart items. So that will be the items layer, and it will be an array of the object. And then in the metadata, we will get that metadata, and that metadata it will be a constraint of the metadata we are passing. So right now what we are just having here, we're gonna get the group items as an items, and then we are having the metadata as the metadata we are just passing there. Okay, that's cool. So right now let's go and create our function layer. So here again we're gonna use a try catch value here. So if we are having an error, we're gonna pass the error. If we are having the success method, we're gonna pass the success method. If we are having the error, let's say console.error, and in the error we're gonna pass error creating a checkout session, and here we're gonna pass the error. That's it. And also we can just simply throw error here just to be in case sensitive scenario. So right now what it gonna happen, it gonna just show the error directly and make it simultaneously perfectly workable. Now what I'm gonna do, like whenever we are passing, because here we need to get the total value, right? Like you are passing some of the item which doesn't have the price value, right? That time we can grab that and easily constrain that. So now we're gonna validate the product. So items, it will be items, let's say without price, and here we're gonna make that items dot filter, and from the filter everything we're gonna take as an item. And here we're gonna define if item dot product dot price. So means as you see, I'm passing the null. So that means whatever items has no price available there means that is items without price. Mostly it will not be there, but it just for a case sensitive scenario. If by mistake the product price is not available, only then it will take an action. So it will be items without price, and here dot length is bigger than 0, means we have the items price length. Then we're gonna throw a new error, and that error we're gonna reflect on that says some items do not have a price. So means just the indication you need to have everything with the price value. So now what we need to do, like defining if a user already have a customer, if there is already customer created, okay, fine, it will inject the data within the customers. If it's not available, then we need to create a new customer. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna retrieve the existing customer or create a new one. So that's the things we're gonna do. So say const, let's say customers is equal to await, and here as you see I'm using the async function, so you can use the await. So now here we're gonna use Stripe, and that Stripe it will coming from my live Stripe. Okay, so Stripe, and then we're gonna pass that dot, we're gonna get the customers parameter from this Stripe, and we're gonna check the list, and that list what we're gonna say, we're gonna say email, and in the email it will be a metadata dot customer email, and here we're gonna pass the limit as 1. So that's the way we're gonna grab the customer ID, right? So now we have a customer value, and now we can call a customer ID. Remember, we are just getting the first value, like with the email we are matching with the limit 1. So means if that email is matched with my customer's email, the metadata customer email, means we have the customers. So now we're gonna just pass that customer ID. So it should be customer ID is equal to, it will be customers dot data dot length. If it's bigger than 0, then it will be that customers dot data, and from there we're gonna get a 0 index value, and from there we can just directly got that with a ID parameter, otherwise is empty. So means now we're grabbing the customer ID. Like if we have the customer, we'll get the customer ID. Otherwise, we'll just get an empty variable. That's it. So now it's time to create the payload, right? By which we're gonna generate the payment instances. Now, mostly it's a typical feature, especially beforehand if you're developing the Next.js application, we are going to use that other parameter third-party library like Stripe client or some others. But today we are just going to hit that with server action. That's it. And one more parameter is yet pending, because as you see, we are using as it action, right? So in the top, we need to use a flag which will be use server. So now that itself, this function itself, it will be act like a server. If you don't use the flag, like the use client flag to make it the client, so that's the next one kind of flag is that by which we need to define that it will be as that will be in a server parameter, and you can use it as a server. So by which we are creating API and others, it will work as the simultaneously same parameter and same instances. So now this the time we're gonna create the other parameter. So it will be const session payload, and in that session payload we're gonna get the stripe. From the stripe and dot, we're gonna get the checkout. Now here also you can just get that stripe, the stripe we have, right? Stripe dot checkout, right? The same thing, you can grab it like that. So let's say stripe dot checkout. So I think better to create that. Yeah, should be stripe. Is it imported at the top? Yeah, that's the stripe we're gonna use directly. So that should be stripe dot checkout dot session create params. So we're gonna create the session with the params, and it will be an object. Here we're gonna pass the metadata, right? So in the metadata, remember the way we written that metadata, we can just define directly there the order number and others. So it's okay, it will directly go. But for that, what you need to do, you need to like destructure the metadata. That's is up to you, or you can directly fetch the metadata the way we render here. So we need to just go and grab it the way we supposed to be. So the order number, it should be order number here, which will be metadata dot order number, and after that the customer, we can just grab it. It's just similar properties, it's just as it usual like before. So there it will also having a 4 parameters which are going to be contradict with that. The order number, which will be the metadata, the order number we are passing, customer name, the customer name. You just need to destructure if you want it to. Just destructure the metadata. Like you can just go through that const, then destructure it. Like we have that order number is equal to, let's say, metadata, and now you can grab the other parameter, the order number, you see. So all the parameters, it will just come by like that. But right now I think this is the way we can save the purpose. Now after the metadata, now we have the metadata, we need to pass a mode, and that mode, it will be payment mode. Okay, we're going to accept the payment, and that allow promotion calls. If we have any promotion, we can now go through it. We're going to make it true later. We're going to create our promotion code. Okay, and after that also payment it will be payment underscore method underscore types, and here you can put a multiple types, but right now we will just gonna grab the card. That's it, the card method it will go. It depends if you want to use the multiple payment instances, it will be simply as fine. Okay, now I'm grabbing one more properties there, which is the next public base URL key, which will be your localhost 3000 key. It will be there. So that's the one it will be using as that thing. So I'm going to copy that. So right now we're going to write the conditioning here, like which URL it gonna hit and how it will go through it. So for now, as the payment method types we define, we will pass the success URL. So after successfully align, where it gonna hit. So in the success URL, we're gonna define it within a backtick. So it will be a process.env. Then we're gonna pass our URL, base URL, and after that we will pass that it will go directly in the success screen, the success page, and there within the parameter in the params, we're gonna pass our session underscore ID. At that ID, it will be the ID for the checkout session ID, should be checkout and underscore session underscore id. So that's the id we're gonna pass, and also after that we're gonna pass our order number. So order number, so order number, so in the order number is equal to, it will be the metadata dot order number. So now if the payment is successful, what we are doing, we are just simply passing the variable, directly injecting to that our next public base URL, which is the localhost 3000. Then it will go in a success page. And we can do one more thing here. In the client, we will create a page success. It will be the folder, and here we'll just simply create a success page, page.tsx. It will be RAFCE, and that page, it will be our success page, just to be defined. And also this page, we're gonna render it within, or you can just make that, and let's say we're gonna render our container here. So that should be our container, a title tag. Did you have the title? Title, no, nothing. So let's say an h2 tag that will define success page, just without getting the 404 error, so we know we are having a page here. So that's the page. We're gonna redirect it, and after that also we're gonna having a cancel URL. So as long as you're having success, you're gonna have the cancel URL, and that cancel URL, it will be simply, we're gonna pass the user to directly go back to our like the process.env dot our public URL, and then it will just make that back, return back to our cart page. That's it, nothing fancy. Now as you're having that, now we need to provide the data by which the like for the Stripe going to showcase the data, how it will be. So that will inject with the line items parameter. So that's the one we are going to head back towards. So in the line items, we're gonna pass the items, and from the items we're gonna map with that. By default, we're gonna take a new item parameter, and from there, and inline return, then within an object. So what we're doing, we're returning the value with an individual product. So in the product, the price data, in the data we're going to define the data, the currency we want to pass as currency, it will be USD. So the dollar sign, it will be there, the USD, and unit amount. In the unit amount, we're going to make that round parameter, so the all, it will be equal. So math.round, that will be item dot product dot price, and into 100. So why? And also need to check that, yeah, you can make it as number, it will go also, or you can make that it will be available. And why we are making that? We are just making that to convert it within a sense. Why we need to do that? Because by default it will not look back to, we need to break down every single penny, right? If $1 have 100 cents, so means we are passing that. If a product price have like $10, we are passing $10 into 100, means 1,000 cents. We are not passing the dollars, we are passing the cents. And why we are doing that? Because every single cents is counts while it's timing for the payment method. So we need to be ensure that yes, that method should be count equally there. Okay, now we are having that price value. And after that, you also need to pass that product data, which will be defined within also in an object. And in the name, we're going to pass that item dot, oops, it will be not that. The name should be item dot product dot name. If the name is available, then name. Then we're going to pass that unnamed product. So the name is given. Now the description, it will be there, which will be, let's say, item dot product dot description. And after that, the metadata. In the metadata, we're gonna pass the ID, which will be, let's say, item dot product dot underscore ID. That's the product ID it will be given. And the images, as you see, the images, we need to pass that item dot product dot image. If the image is available, then we're gonna pass something. If it's not available, we're gonna pass something. If the image is not available, then we'll pass the image should be undefined, means no image is there. And now, as the image is going to be retrieved from Sanity, in that, because it will go within a like the array format, we need to pass that our URL for, by which we can directly grab that our URL, image URL, and here we're going to pass that image.product.image, and here we need to pass that URL. So now it will directly grab our image URL data. So now we have the image, and one more things we need to also predefine here, not directly here but later. As you see that all the data is coming for as a price data. After the price data, also you need to pass the one value is the quantity, which will be item dot quantity. So that's the value we have here. So now in that session payload, what we are doing, we are grabbing that metadata directly, and we are passing that mode as metadata. As the metadata we have, we are passing the order number, customer name, customer email, and Clerk user ID. Mode is having the payment, allow promotion is yes, so means like it's true. So I'm going to show you how you can create that and how you can use that. Now payment method types, it will be in the card. We are forecasting the success URL, cancel URL, and then passing the line items. In the line items, we are passing the price data, which is the currency USD. We are passing the unit amount and the product data. Then we are having the quantity. Now this is the catch where we need to work and make it happen. So here what we're gonna do, if we have a customer ID, right? If we have the customer ID, then what you're gonna do, if doesn't have, then what you're gonna do should be session payload dot customer, and that would be equal to customer ID. Okay, done. And else if we doesn't have the customer ID, means we doesn't have the customer yet, then what you're gonna do, session payload dot customer email, because we're gonna use the customer email to create a new email, to create a new ID, should be metadata dot customer email. Okay, so now with that we can grab this one, and from there we need to now, we should be able to grab one session, should be const session is equal to await. It should be stripe dot checkout dot, and then we're gonna grab the sessions, then we will get the create, and here we're gonna pass our session payload, and from there we will get an URL. We're gonna just simply pass the return. It will be session dot URL. So that's the URL we are needing right now to create the other parameter. And as you see, everything's good in place, but as we use the await method, we need to make that function as async function. Okay, we are getting async await, so everything is all right. Then we should be getting one checkout URL. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna inspect it directly in console. Now remove everything. Let's say create a proceed to checkout, and let's see what is happening. As you see, we are grabbing. If I open that in a new tab, you're gonna see that's the checkout format right now we are having, but we will not let the user to just let out from our like the payment section, right? We will drive it within that URL, within that, like we're gonna redirect that URL within our application layer. And how we can do that? But before doing that, remember we have that checkout button, so we need to make that one in a very crucial way by which we can showcase the loader and other instances. I'm gonna do it for one view, and you can feel free to go and do that for the other view. So what I'm gonna do, let's just go back here, and in there when we are okay, I'm gonna just go and initiate the loader. So that's our second parameter. That's the first one where we have order, and then this is the button, right? So in the button, we're gonna disable the button wherever we are having the loading. Like if it's loading, it will be disabled. And also for the checkout, this text we can define on that. If we have the loading, then what we're gonna say, we will directly say that it will be like processing. And if we have no loading, we will just say it simply that proceed to checkout. That's the one parameter, and that's it. I think we are good to go right now. And after that, once we are getting back the checkout URL, right? So in that URL, we will now redirect our window on the location, because as you see, the checkout URL is just an URL which we are facing. So we're gonna make that window dot, and we're gonna pass a location parameter, location dot href, and in that href it should be is equal to on that checkout URL. That's it. That's the last instant point we are dealing right now. So what we're gonna do, that's the moment of truth. If everything is providing all right in a good format, we should be able to retrieve the order, like getting the data here, and that data, it should be available here if you go in that Stripe payment section. And we're gonna just go in the transaction right now. So we didn't have any transaction yet, as you see is empty. So what we're gonna do, let's go in our page here, proceed to checkout. As you see, disable and processing, so you cannot click it anymore. Now as you see, it's deriving to get my email, like the email we have, and 424, and we need to define that 4242, the default payment card value. And this one, this name we cannot get from the metadata, because that name should be matched with the card name we have, but we are not giving the user, because whatever user I have, we're directly passing the email to that particular user only, not any others, right? So now here you're gonna pass a name. Let's say I'm gonna pass my name and pay. Now after payment, when the payment is successful, it's gonna redirect back to me my success URL, my success page. As you see, I'm having in my success page, I'm getting my order number, I'm getting my as you see, session ID. So all are working perfectly. If you come back here, just need to hit a reload here, a hot reload, as the first payment is done. So now after reloading, we should be able to get one payment. As you see, 296. If you click on that, you will get the other value perfectly, and it will just work properly. As you see, wow, super cool. Everything is right here. Now as you're having the payment, now we need to go and work in a different purposes. But before working in other parameter, what I like to do is to create that success instances. Later on, what we're gonna do, you're gonna create our webhook, by which we can now know how to create the other parameter. So let's go in the success page. So that's our success. I'm gonna close others. Now the success page also typically it will be an client page. Now I'm gonna just make that as a use client flag. You can take a new component here, make it as a use client, and page it will be make it as a server side page, is up to you, but I'll go in a very efficient manner. So now what I need to do is that first here I'm gonna create two parameters, which will be const search params, and that search params is equal to, we need to get that use search params from the next navigation, and that we're gonna get the search params, SCARCH need to be given, so that's the one. And then we will get that const order number, and that it will be our search params dot get, and from there we're gonna get it according to our order number. And if we just log our order number, we should be able to get our order number. So create, and let's go and inspect console. As you see, we're having one order number, so we get the order. Now we can just simply define what we want, like in the use effect hook, use effect, and here what we're gonna pass, that if we doesn't have the order number, what we want. If we have the order number, we want something. So if we want to like empty our card, that's, you can do it also after the payment is done, but you can also do it here. That's a simple procedure you can go and follow through. So const, it should be clear card, and that will coming from that use card store, and from there we will grab all the state, and from that state it should be there state dot receipt card. You can grab it from here, or you know how you can do that. You can just make that const receipt card, it should be use I think use card store, yeah, use card store. That's it. As you see, the both way it will work. Now you see, type receipt card is available. So now if I have the order number, what I want to receive my card value, and I'm gonna do it simply, should be receipt card, and that will always take effect whenever the order number it will be available. When the clear receipt card it will be available, I think receipt card or clear card, which one we prefer. So let's go my store .ts, and that is, yeah, receipt card. So it means the card it will be emptied, and we're gonna see, okay, what's wrong here. Is effect change size between renderers. The order and size this array must be returned and constant. Okay. If order number is available, only then we are passing that receipt card value. Okay, we need to go in a functional way, because as we are directly calling there, so it can be throwing an error. So instead of having this layer, we can just go with, let's say it will be a clear card. So we're gonna just grab that card store, and from there, instead of receipt card, we're gonna call that clear card, and it will just passing that instant value. As you see, it will go for sure. If we just reload, it will automatically disappear. Our order item, it should be emptied, as you see. So the first instant is just leading it here. Now what I'm gonna do is to create a simple that look like success page, by which we're gonna get the clear message, and after that we're gonna implement our like the webhook, so that we can check the action, and we would be able to send our order to Sanity order, which the schema we have been written, and particularly we're gonna just prefetch the data and directly dump it in the order session we have here. Then we can grab and prefetch that all the modules. So let's create a design pattern for the success page. So instead of passing that within, I think we no need to have that container. So what I'm gonna do, just grab that and put a class name here. We're gonna make that padding y as 10, because we want to keep it in the middle, so no need to put a max width here. So md in padding y should be 20, and then bj should be gradient and to be bottom right, and from it should be passing the value of from green 50 to green 100. Okay, now as you see, we are having a simple structure here. Okay, as we are having this structure, we will also make it flex, item center, justify center, and padding 4. So whatever we're gonna dump it here, it will be at the middle, right? Now here we're gonna also define a motion parameter. First, I'm gonna just take the motion, should be import motion, and it will coming directly from framer motion. Is the motion is not refactor? I don't know, sometimes it's not providing. Did we install the motion? If we go in the package, we should have been installed the motion, right? Oh no. Okay, cool. We are still not getting the motion. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna install the motion. So npm I framer motion. Let's see. Okay, installing. If it's not having any issue, okay, issue is providing, so need to pass with the legacy pair dependency. So let's try one more time with legacy, and that should be available. Yeah, now it's installing, and after installing we can now directly inject it here. So should be framer motion. Let install, we're gonna just showcase later on. So after the div, we're gonna having a motion div here directly, and if we just go, let's say it's still installing, we're gonna have a div called motion.div, and within that div layer we're gonna pass an icon which will be check icon. So let's say passing that check. Okay, I think yeah, check should be coming from the lucid icon. Okay, it's installed, so means it will be good to go. Now in the div, what we're gonna define is that, let's say that will be motion, but the check also we're gonna pass within a motion parameter. So should be motion.div, and here we're gonna pass that, injecting that our check icon. Right now you will only see the check icon, so we're gonna make that one looks a bit like put an initial value which will be, let's say that one opacity should be 0 and y it will be 20, and after that we will make that animate. So once the animating is happen, so the opacity should be 1 and y should be 0. So instead of skipping in vertically, it will be in place, and also we'll make the transition, and in the transition we'll make a duration which will be 0.5. Done. That's the one variable. And also you're going to make a class name which will be background color, it will be white, and then rounded should be 2xl, and then a shadow should be 2xl, and px should be 8, and padding y should be 12, and max width should be xl, and after that text should be center. So that's the value. As you see, just we are having that layer. Now we will make it in a good shape so that it will be setting perfectly. Okay, and also it will be initial should be scale scale should be 0. Okay, so we will just make an keeping it bigger and smaller. So animate should be scale should be 1, and after that we will make that transition, and that transition it will passing a delay value which will be 0.2, and then the type it should be not try. Okay, 0.2 it will be type which will be spring, and after that I think the stiffness we need to provide also. The stiffness we are going to provide as 200. So I think, yeah, that's the layer. Okay, still I think you will not see that much ratio here. For the check, we need to make the class name. The text should be tail of 600. Let's say 600, and width it will be 12, height it will be 12. So that's the one. If we just reload for right now, let's see what's it's just casing. Yeah, see, just giving an effect. Okay, as you see on just reload, it's just providing a catchy effect, coming bigger and smaller. That's it. So it's just dumping like that way. So that's the design we create for this portion. Either if you want to make it also a square, you could just make that as you make the padding y value or padding x value, you can just make that padding as 8. It will providing that you that square shape. It's just up to you how the way you feel it look alike. Now in h1 tag parameter, we're gonna make that order confirmed, and after that also let's say a div. Then we're gonna pass a p tag which will be thank you for your purchase, and we're gonna make that using that an oppose. And using an oppose means you can either use that one, but once you are going to dump it in the next like for the versal, you're gonna grab an error. So it's better to using that an oppose so that it will not passing that error anymore. So we are processing your order and will ship it soon. A confirmation email with your order. Oops, it will be with your order details will be sent to your inbox shortly. So that's the message we want to showcase. As you see, we're grabbing the message, but we need to make it look in a better way. So right now, as you're having, that's the one motion we have. So that's the one, but we have the flex properties, but it's not injecting perfectly. It's because as you see that's motion, because we need to also drag that every single things within this parameter. So that will be on that layer. So that motion, as you see, also just reload, all the effect should be directly coming here. Okay, we need to create in that way. Okay. What we are missing here? So we make the text center. That is really bad. We're missing something. And what is missing is here, I forget to provide that color for this one. So you see that div need to combine some parameter. So that div, put a class name. Remember the width for icon is 1212. So I'm gonna provide a width of 24, height of 24, and then background color should be green. Green of let's say 100, and after that rounded should be full, flex item center, justify center, mx auto should be in the middle, margin bottom is 8, and shadow should be lg. Now that's the layer we want to create. Now this will give a perfect effect. As you see, once we are loading, okay, cool, now it's getting in a proper shape. Now for the h1 tag, put a class name, should be class name. Text should be 3XL, and font should be less for bold font. Text will be gray of 800. Text gray of 800, and after that margin bottom should be 4, and after that this div it will be getting some way. So for the div I'm gonna make it like, put a class name, a space y should be space space y should be, let's say 4, margin bottom should be 8, and let's say text, I think the text I'm gonna put in left proportion. By default it will be left, just creeping in that way. Class name, the text gray would be 600. So now we are grabbing the design ratio. So I think in a way it looks not so bad here. Now after that p tag, passing another p tag, it will be in the p tag should be passing that order number, and in the number on this span tag we're gonna pass simply the order number. So to make that one in a proper shape, text should be black and font should be semi bold, and also we can just simply, instead of passing it here, I think I'm gonna just cut that, and I'm not gonna pass this value here. I'm gonna directly grab that one for this layer, so all the text it will get the default value. So we have the order number. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass another div, and that will be simply just passing the structurable value. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dump it here. So after that div, we're gonna grab the div, which is what next. So here we're gonna passing that UL list. Check your email for order confirmation. We will notify you when your order ships, and track your order status anytime. And as you see, passing that simple design parameter, making the background green, and then also this one text green, text sm space y1. So that's the one we are creating. What's next? Check your email for order and notify and track order. Now that's the, I think the one last parameter is pending, is to create the button, right? So I'm going to give a div, and in the div I'm going to provide a link, and in that link, let's say it will be a home icon from the side React, and here we're going to put a name which will be home. And for the href of that parameter, href I think need to import the link from the next link, and the href it gonna just render to our home directly. So that's the home. So we need to make it align. First, to make it align, put a class name. We're gonna make it as a grid. So by default grid call should be 1, sm grid call should be 3, and I'm gonna pass a gap of 4. So that's the way it's gonna structurize. Now what I'm gonna do, let's say for the home icon, let's put a class name. The width should be 5, height should be 5, where am I? Yeah, width should be 5, and here height should be 5, margin right should be 2. I think that will be like that, but this one need to be properly aligned. So it will be just similarly, all of will be the same parameter. So first thing, put a class name. I'm gonna make it a flex, center, justify center, padding x should be 4, padding y should be 3, and font should be semi bold. So right now, after dealing with that, as you see, is coming together. And what I'm gonna do, background color should be green of 500, green of not 6 but 500 bg. Text should be white color, rounded should be LG, and after that, once we hovering, BJ should be green of 600, and we're gonna make that as a shadow of MD, and we're gonna make it as hover effect. So now if you go here, as you see, yeah, if we click, it will directly take back to our home. So what I'm gonna do, that's the similar effect it gonna pumping up. So I'm gonna just passing my others value here, so which going to be my those of the links. So need to grab the package icon, need to grab that shopping bag icon. That's it. So now if we just come back within the same layer, okay, as you see, order confirmed, home, order, shopping. So now we can track those things properly. If you want to return back, not providing that much gap, you can just feel free to combine from it here. You can just make that padding white, and you know, it will give you a perfect view here. So now as we are passing here, if we click in the orders, we should be able to grab the orders, right? So what we're gonna do here in the client, we're gonna get one more page, should be order. And here we're gonna make a simple page, page.tsx rfce. So that one, it will be our order page. So in that order page, we will create a lot of things. So in that container, it will be passing that order page value. So grab the order page, and I think it should not be order. It should be, I think, the orders. That's why it's not generating automatically. So I'm going to rename that one, and let's say orders. And that will be also just to put efficient, should be orders page. Now what I need to do, because once we are delving, like once we are creating the order, is not saving. We are not directly getting it where it's supposed to be. And why we are not getting it is because we need to use that webhook. And how you can create the webhook, that's the first place. How you can use the webhook. To generate the webhook, okay, I'm gonna just rename that, reload that. Okay, order page is not defined. Let's go backward. It's defined. Let's say click orders. Is it possible? Or okay, so need to rename that one. Yeah. So now to create the webhook, how we can grab that? It's very simple to go and generate the webhook. So that is the order. I don't know why, what's happened. It just redirecting to all of that. Am I missing something? Okay, that's our local host. Let's just reload. I think, yeah, it's just having some issue of the reload or something. Now first we need to install Stripe, right, in our local machine. So let's say Stripe download. So let's go in the download option. Now here get Stripe with the Stripe CLI. If we click on that on the documentation, you can see that install the Stripe CLI. So if we just make it try online, okay, that's the way we can install. I want to showcase the Google like GitHub platform there from where you can download. So let's say Stripe download. Stripe download. Here is that GitHub. Yeah, that's the one I want to showcase. So okay, it's directly getting the download folder, so I'm gonna cut that. Let's enter so we can, okay, that's also not coming. Let's say in the download, I think it will be release here. Yeah, so it will be github.com Stripe CLI release. And from there is a Linux version, Mac version here. So my system is like Windows 64-bit. So you can also go, and there is a various versions there. You can go, feel free to go and explore, and you can go directly here. I think okay, show 15 assets. Yeah, I use that one, Stripe Windows. So if I just open my terminal here, and in the terminal, if I just try that Stripe, you should be able to see the Stripe. Okay, let's just, okay, Stripe V. So now you should be able to see the Stripe version here, which will be available. As you see, 1.22, that's the one I'm using. So you download it. If either you are using Mac or Linux, you need to download, and then you need to go through to create the other instance. So after downloading, how you can run that one, right? So to run that one, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass a value here from where it can run, from where it can listen. So first command, which will be like that, Stripe listen. So first I need to give a variable which by which it can listen that one. So I'm gonna say Stripe listen, and I'm gonna forward that forward and forward to, and let's pass that the value of that local host which I'm gonna render. So it should be 3000/API/webhook. Enter. And after entering, it's gonna pass me one variable here. As you see, that's the key, which will be my webhook key. So I'm gonna copy that, right? So after copying that, I will just directly go in my env file, so which will be .env, and here in that like webhook secret, I'm gonna just directly pass that one. So now I have my webhook key. So you feel free to install, then only then once you run that command, Stripe listen forwarded to, I need to pass the like the port, and then it will run. So I'm gonna keep it like that, and now it's time to create my route. And how we gonna do that? Remember which one I post that, localhost API webhook. So if I go in my app, I'm gonna create one structure here. So the directory name, okay, I'm gonna just close all the things. So here it will be my API, and in the API I'm gonna take another folder which will be that checkout, and in the checkout I need to just provide a route here which will be route.ts. So now I'm having my route, so it will be now working perfectly. So let's say export assign function, assign, and we're gonna pass that function, and that function, it will be a name of the post function which will be a post method, and in the request we're gonna directly pass that request parameter which will be request, and in the request the type should be the next request type, and don't import it from the server. Oh no, import it from the server, not from other parameters. So that will be our total overview by which we can grab that function. Now in that function we will also grab some other property. We can grab the body. So the body, it should be body is equal to, let's say, await request.text. So whatever the text we're gonna passing there, we're gonna grab that as body, and also you're gonna pass that headers list. It should be is equal to await. We're gonna grab the headers from the next headers, and then we need to get the signature, right? That signature by which we can check that's what kind of headers we are getting. That signature, it will be header list dot get. We're gonna get the signature, like the signature coming from Stripe signature. So whatever the Stripe signature we're getting from the header list, we're gonna grab that. Now we're gonna check if we doesn't have the signature, like it's not, the headers is not coming from the Stripe, then we're gonna pass a value. Return should be next response. Need to import again next response dot JSON we're gonna pass, and in the JSON we will pass the error, right? The error, it will be no Stripe signature. Okay, and after that we will also pass an status code, and the status should be 400. Okay, server failed. So now if we doesn't have the signature, now if we have the signature, we will make a secret which will be webhook secret. Webhook secret is equal to process.env, and in that env, remember the name we have been given there, and whenever you are getting the name, better try to copy paste it, because sometimes you will get the misspelled and it will be false. Now we have the webhook secret, and also I'm gonna check if we doesn't have the webhook secret, means sometimes it can be fallback. We will just log in that persistence, like if we say Stripe webhook secret is not set, and instead of log we will pass that error. I think that will be perfect, and I'm going to return the value which will be again the next not next request, it should be response. And for that instances, I'm gonna just copy this layer here, so pass this one status, it will be 400 again. So here we can pass the similar message by which you will know that what's happening there. So this will be passing there in the message that no Stripe secret is set. Now this time is like if we have set the secret, right? Now if we having the secret, we're gonna get the event. So that event is equal to should be Stripe dot event. So we're gonna grab the Stripe event value, event. Okay, what's wrong here? Event is saying event does not exist. Why? Did you import the Stripe? Yeah, that's our Stripe. Then it should be okay, I think event. Okay, we're gonna get a try catch block, then we will see why it's not getting there. So in the try catch, we're gonna pass if we are having that error, so we can also grab that. So if we have error, we can pass that response here, and in the response we can just simply pass that, which will be webhook error, and we can also pass the error because it's in webhook error, so we know what kind of things is happening. So here we can pass directly the error here in the front end, and also I'm gonna set case that console dot error, and in the error it should be that webhook event error, and in the error we can pass the error. Now in the try block, we will just define how we can grab that property. So the event is equal to should be Stripe. That Stripe need to be coming from my lib Stripe dot webhooks dot let's say construct event, and from that event we're gonna pass the body, we're gonna get the signature, and also you're gonna get that webhook secret. With that property we will be available, like we can create our Stripe secret, like Stripe. Okay, the one thing is that it should be a clone. That was the problem. So now that's our event. First event is going to grab the Stripe event, and now whenever we are getting a try catch value, we are just going to create a constructing a new event with the body which we are getting, passing that Stripe signature, passing that webhook secret. Means we should be having an event. After having the event, we can now pass that event to get the value. Now if we have that event dot type is equal to, now we can check all the event type. Let's say check out session, expire, and others. So now you need to be check carefully one more thing. Like see, once I type the event, I can grab all the event values. So if that things is not happening with you, means something is having error. So if you're using TypeScript, that should be providing that. So now we're gonna get that checkout session completed. If that happen, only then we're gonna grab the value. So passing that session is equal to, it should be event dot data dot object, and we're going to pass that as Stripe dot checkout dot session. So that will be the value for it. Now after that we need to also getting that properties should be, let's say, try catch. So in that try catch value, I think something we have been putting in wrong motion. It should be there, and that should be removed from there. I think so, yeah. Now in the try catch properties, remember if we have the error, we can pass the error, otherwise it will be fine. So we're gonna just passing that error value here in the catch properties. So if we having the error, so here, because now we're gonna create the order, so what we're gonna do, so we will say that order created in Sanity error. So now we know what kind of error we are encompassing. So after that, what we're gonna define is there in that try block, we're gonna say const order is equal to await, let's say creates order in Sanity, which the function we didn't create yet, so we need to create that function. So it will be create order in Sanity. We're gonna pass our session, injecting session directly here. So we're gonna create that function at the bottom layer, and that function will be responsible to create our property. So it will be assign function. So assign function, passing the function name, and in the parameter we will grab the session, and on the type it will be the session type, which the type we are passing that should be checkout dot session. And now we're gonna create the variable. As you see, we are passing the order, so that order will be validated once we are just going to inject the order. So after that also we can make a log here just to see, which will be order created in Sanity, and here we can just check the order. Okay, so that's we're gonna check now. So after that we can create the order here. And how we can create, first we're gonna interject everything, like id is equal to we get from the session. Okay, so what kind of things we want id, we want amount total. After that we want the currency, we also want the metadata, we want that payment intent, then we want total details. So that's the things we want directly from this Stripe. So now from the session as a D structure, let's say const order amount should be order number, and that should be equal to metadata, as it can be as unknown, also it can be as metadata. Okay, Note that metadata, it will be the metadata of action checkout metadata. So now we are having that order number. Remember the 4 instances which we are passing there. We can also get our customer name. We can grab back our customer email, and also we can grab back our Clerk user ID. So now we are having the order number and everything. So it's time to create the order. So const line items and say with product. So we're gonna create the line item, the UCT product is equal to, and that should be, let's say, await Stripe dot checkout, not charges, checkout dot session dot line items, and from the line items we're gonna pass the ID, and after ID we need to expand the value, and that expenditure we're gonna grab that the value which will be data dot price dot product. So that's the value we are going to grab. So the line items with product, it will be that checkout session. We will go all of the line items, and then from ID we're gonna destructure that with the data price product. Now we're having that line items with product, right? Now const, let's say Sanity products. Okay, now here this time we need to create the products for Sanity. Should be line items with a product dot data dot map, because we need to individually recognize the product. And here we're gonna take an function, then in return we're gonna pass an object. Here we're gonna pass the underscore key, and that key should be, let's say, crypto dot random UID. And after passing that ID variable, we need to also pass the product. So should be a product, and that product should be, we need to pass a type which going to get a reference, REFEREN, I think that we're missing an N, and in the ref type would be reference, and the ref okay, and the underscore ref, we need to pass the ref should be item dot price dot product, and s we need to product s let's say Stripe dot product, and here we can now pass that as the value is there dot metadata dot ID. So I think we need to make ensure a null check here. So now we are getting a 2 different value. In that product we are passing a type underscore type which is going to get the reference, and the reference key which will be from that item dot price dot product as Stripe product, and then we're gonna pass the metadata dot ID. And also we need one more properties. Remember, we need to grab that quantity, right? So the item dot quantity, if the quantity is available quantity, then otherwise it will be 0. Now we are getting the Sanity products value. So this time we need to construct the order. How we can construct the order? So let's say const order is equal to await. Now here if you see, we can make it that backend client, that one which is still not yet created. We need to create a backend client properties by which we can grab that properties and directly inject the data in Sanity. Remember, in the lib on the Sanity folder we have a lib here. So in that lib I'm gonna get another file which will be my backend client dot, let's say it will be also a TS file. So in that file we're gonna create that properties to go and fetch the other value. So let's say export const backend client, and that client should be create client, create, let's say client need to be import from Next Sanity, and from there we're gonna pass an object, should be passing that project ID, and then passing that data set, and that project ID need to be imported from okay, where is not coming from that. I think we can directly go and grab from that env file we have. Okay, it should grab from Sanity env, but did we have Sanity env? Or we can directly destructure it as from the env file. So we can just name it here as, yeah, API version dataset project ID, and it will automatically get from the env file. So now as you did that, so now we have the dataset, we have the project ID from directly from the env file we have, and also we have the API version here available. And now we can make that ucdn should be true. Right now I'm just keep gonna true it, and the token I'm gonna passing that token which going to be process, let's say process.env dot. You can also pass that, or directly you can fetch that API token if you want it to. I'm gonna just pass that. So now we have that our token properties. So we are just creating that one of the backend client. So as you're having that backend client, let's say that backend client would be responsible to create the orders. So create, as you see now my data is correct. If we see, I can grab the variable. If anything is missed, the variable information you will not get. So you can just destructure and let's see where is the missing properties. And underscore type, it should be the order. Remember our schema. If we just go in the order schema, order type, you see in the top layer, we are declaring that name. See the order, that's the name should be matching here. So be careful once you are passing the name, it should be the similar name. We're gonna pass that order number, right? So order number, which we have the value. I think we are in the shape. Okay, we are destructuring the order number. So let's say, yeah, we're destructuring, but why is not suggesting order number? Yeah, okay, cool. And then we will also get that Stripe checkout session ID, which going to be the ID we are injecting. Then also it will check that Stripe payment intent ID, which will be payment intent. And then we're going to pass our customer name, which will be as a customer, not email, customer name. And after that, we will make that Stripe customer ID. Let's say that will be our customer email. And after that, we're gonna pass that our Clerk user ID, which going to be that Clerk user ID. You can keep it similar like that if you want. Then the email should be our customer email. Okay. And after that, also need to pass some of the value. So let's pass the currency, should be the currency we are passing, and that amount discount. So the discount amount should be the amount which we are going to inject. That should be the total, like total underscore details dot amount discount. And if it's available, we're gonna pass, otherwise it will be 0. If it's available, then it should be the total details dot amount discount divide 100. Remember that. So we're gonna do this structure on that parameter. After that, we also need to pass our products, and that product should be the value of that Sanity products. Remember, we have one key parameter by which we're destructuring the Sanity product with ID and product type. So that's the one it will inject here. So we grab the products, and now we will grab the total price. The total price, it will be amount underscore total is available, that amount total, and it should be divided by 100. Why I'm dealing that? Remember, once we are passing the price, we are making in cents, right? So whenever we are going to get back the price, it should be that parameter, right? Otherwise it will not work. Okay, webhook line, right? Map error when writing ping message. Okay, I'm gonna just close it for right now. We're gonna open it again. After total price, then let's put that status, which will be, let's say, paid. For right now, I'm going to keep it paid. Also, you can make unpaid and also other parameter. The order date should be the new date, and I'm going to make it dot to ISO string. Okay, and from there, from that person, I'm going to just simply return our order. So right now, if everything is working perfectly, we should be able to create our step in order in Sanity. For right now, in this, from this parameter, I'm going to remove my older product, delete all together. So now in my order list is totally empty, so no order is available. And also if we just come back, so my thing is loading. So now we can create one Stripe payment, but before creating that, I want to make it /Stripe to run that parameter. Okay, it's running, and this secret, because it's gonna change after certain time, like after 1 day, 48 hours or 72 hours. So you need to just check that it's finished or not. If it's changed, you need to also change the secret by itself, otherwise it will not work. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and grab my here. So let's say we're gonna add some more product here. Okay, So this time we're going to create a checkout instances. If everything is good, we should be able to grab that. We have 114. If we just proceed to checkout and see, there is nothing happen yet. And why it's not happening? Because it will only happen once the payment instance going to be started. So 4242, let's say 1235 123, providing the name of in the card and hit pay. Now we can check if anything is created here. So as you see, I can track right now, but in my track it's not created. Your webhook sign-in secret is I think it's because I need to also make sign-in. Maybe that's what I need to do. Let's open that. Let's say Stripe login, enter, because I need to go to create the Stripe login, otherwise it will not inject. And this one I need to check which account I am using this here. So I have multiple account in the Stripe instances, I think. Yeah, so I need to go in my authenticator app to just to pass the value, because it's a multi-instance I create that. So in my authenticator I should be able to grab one. I think I use which account I use. So okay, it's not showcasing here. Okay, let me I can grab it. So let's say Stripe. Okay, I got that secret 101625. Okay, now I need to give the access, so allow access. Now access is granted, so that's the step which I misspelled, so I forget to create that one. So you should be able to see two payment is done here. So what we're gonna do as the last one, 114, we will create another order. Let's go back to the home and we will create one more, and this time I think the Stripe can listen and pass the order and do the trick the way it's supposed to do. Now let's go in the card, and from the card we're gonna directly go in the payment option. Okay, Stripe is still not doing anything. It's not supposed to not do that. So this time hit pay. So now let's see if it can connect. Only then I think, is it? No, it still can't connect. Your webhook sign-in secret is that. So okay, we can debug that. I think the mistake we have been done here is, see the checkout. Okay, that's the problem. Instead of checkout, it should be our webhook. Oh my god, yeah, that's the problem which we have been dealing right now, because we are passing it as a checkout, so my webhook is not running, right? Okay, I'm gonna close again and then I'm gonna run it again. That was a simple silly mistake again. The name was the problem. Instead of that webhook, I provide the name as checkout, so that's just freak out because it's not finding the link. That was the issue only. So let's roll back to the card. I think this time it will not give me any issue. I think so. I think, okay, let's pass that. Okay, pay. Okay, now you see payment intent success. So the checkout session completed, payment intent created. Now I think it's just going to take an action. There is some error we are having. No worries about that. We can just go and check 404 in okay, we are having a 404 error in. Okay, maybe that can be happen. Okay, we're having 404. If we roll back here and hit reload, it's not coming anything. I think we can fix that. So we have the product number, we have the value, but from where? API webhook 404 in 1465. Or instead of error, I think we can log the event so that we should be able to see where is actually things is going wrong. So that's my webhook, and we can also grab that log here. Okay, did we create everything perfectly? I think so, but let's just revoke one more time just to see what we missed. I think the mistake which we have been done, especially, you see the client, I think our entire that API webhook need to not to be in the client, but we need to move that not in app but in the client. Yes, That's why it cannot read here. Okay, webhook. Okay, the API is mismatched. No worries, we can delete that. In the client, because we are now injecting directly in the app layer, because we have two different directory there, so I'm gonna just put that within our webhook here. So that's the webhook. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna directly pass it in the client. We have API. I'm gonna just paste it here. I think now we will be able to grab those things. So let's just go try one more time. I think it will be fine. And also if we just come back here, okay, okay, I'm gonna just close it again, and this time we're gonna let it listen one more time. I think this time it will work perfectly. And while it's happening, check that if it's the similar or not. If we change, means something gonna be error again. So now I'm gonna try one more time, because as you see, I'm now moving my not in the app directly. As you see the structure in the app, in the client, I'm passing the API, then the webhook is destructuring, right? So that's my webhook. Okay, so here I'm just end passing. Now put an add to cart, and that's it. Let's see if this time we can check or not. So 196 to be paid, and that's our webhook is still running, good to go. So I think if we try this time, 4242, okay, and now hit pay. So the instances should be creating. Okay, charge succeeds. Still I am getting that, so let's try again something. I think in the code layer we're not getting anything. If we just check here, okay, see wwb, it should not be, it should be only one, you see, webhook. So I think the naming issue having the problem. So I think, yeah, webhook should be a single category. If we enter, I think this time it will not providing me the problem. Okay, secret, yeah. So now it could be matched, because you're getting 404 means not found. So every time it's running here, see the name here is the webhook, but here wwb, so that is having the problem. So let's try one more time. This time if it's having issue, it's really freaking me out. It's just a silly mistake, but you know, even the silly one, it can be a more, and it can be just making injecting that not to be happen. So now if we try this time, I think the problem is only for the mistake, I think so, but let's see, anything can happen. React PD, let's pay, and if it's found means it will work perfectly. Okay, created. Okay, now it's a different error. So 404, now 500. So API webhook means, yeah, if we click on that, we should be able to get some details. Now we know it's changing, so means we can now debug and go and find other parameter why this is not happening. Okay, char succeeded. Okay, we have the view. Okay, let's just go and debug a bit. I think the error can be aligned. Remember, I changed my product, that data layer in the Sanity. I changed the key. So there I have two separate, like I changed the shuffled account, right? So when I change the account, I need to also change my the token which I have, because right now what app token have is just my this token. So in my Sanity, especially if we go back to our env file, we can just check that. As you see, that Sanity API token and Sanity API read token, these two token is the new one which we created, but I'm using the data from that Sanity project ID and dataset. So that was the error causing that, because it's mismatching. So I think that can be the valid reason to having an error. And there is one 500 error we should get, because we doesn't have a return value from here. So once everything is making perfectly, we will pass the next response.json, and here we can just simply pass that receipt should be true. Okay, so now with that layer we can go and grab fetch every other thing. So other procedure is okay, the similar passion which we have been done. And if you're having an error, you can just make that, like I'm gonna close that, you can just simply make Stripe login directly from there, it will be fine. And also if you cannot inject the Sanity property, you can also hit here Sanity login. I think that two parameter can give you access to go on that. So now this time if we try, I think this time it can be possible to create a better way that it can work. Now let's try this time, 4242 12 35 123, and let's say React PD pay. Now after dating that, now this time, yeah, payment to 200, yes. So as you see, I think everything going to work perfectly. And if we just roll back status paid, we are receiving all the data. Okay, now we are getting it. Especially if we go back here, as you see, the previously I created one, the success one, so now we should have that one also. So 144, and we just go back in this Stripe, we should be able to see our payments which just recently we have been done. So the recent value is coming as value of 141, and that's the value of 141, which I am having the data, product data, I having the price, currency, and others. So now we're having the data. So that can be sometimes it can be a real issue, like it will be difficult to grab that, you know. So what I'm saying, you just check some of the criteria. Either your API is in the client side, which should be here, API webhook, and this here, this time everything was perfect, especially two things was mismatch. One, I didn't lock that properly, and the next one was that I didn't connected it properly, and I didn't change the secret, especially the secret, and the API token key didn't change it. That's why the problem arise. I think now we are good to go. So we are having the event, we are having the session, everything is properly aligned. So I think also I'm getting on log from somewhere. I need to remove that log. So this the data. Okay, the session. Okay, here this the order. So I'm gonna remove that. So now, as you're now still, if you are facing problem yet, let me know in the comments. I will try to reach you out and help you if you are facing those kind of problems, because for me it was just to having those problem because it's just a mismatch of the data connection or others. So now, as we are having the data right now, so it's time to showcase our order properties, right? And how we can showcase that. Very simple. And to grab that, let's go back to our page here in the order page. So here we can grab the data, right? And to get back the data directly here, it also be a simple constraint. It will be running here. So first thing first, let's go and fetch our, just typing our query and other parameters. Let's go here in the helpers on the queries. We're gonna write another queries which will help us to get our order data. So let's say to grab that, it will be a simple query, export const. It should be my orders query, and is equal to, let's say we're gonna make that define query parameter. On that define query in the backtick, we will put an asterisk mark, and here it should be underscore type should be as equal to order. And after passing that and we need to pass that Clerk user ID, should be user ID, and that ID also going to pass that value, should be user ID. And that going to also, we are going to make that order, which going to be passing that as order data and DESC. So we're gonna make it as descending parameter, and from there what kind of data we are going to get, right? We need to define which data we are going to inject. I think did we missed anything? Supposed not to be. So we are defining the query, which we have underscore type is equal to order, and after that and we are passing that. Okay, we're passing the Clerk user ID is equal to user ID, and then the order should be ascending. So means it's supposed it to be okay. Yeah, from there we're gonna return whatever we want. We will get everything, and from there we're gonna destructure the products, which will be getting that products array, and after that from the products array we're gonna get the product. So all the products we're gonna get back from there. So that is our defined query. So now, as you're having the defined query, we can now simply write our function. So let's go and make the function here, which will be export const, and that should be get my orders is equal to async, and here we will get our user ID, which will be coming as a string format. Oops, I need to close that. Should be. And then if we doesn't have that user ID, that time we need to throw an error. So that should be throw an new error, and that error going to be user ID is required. So that's the error it's going to be. Now if we're having that, like if we passing the ID, put a try catch value, should be try catch, and in the catch we're gonna pass that our catch value. So that will be the catch fetching product, or error fetching, we can just simply say error fetching orders. Okay, now if we are successfully get the order, let's say const orders is equal to, it should be await, and here sanity fetch. So in the fetch method we're gonna directly just inject one oops, it should be query. So in the query it should be my orders query, and the params, it will take the params of that user ID. Okay, so now if we are receiving the product, so let's say if we are getting that, so return should be orders dot data, and if the data is available, okay, otherwise should be an empty. Now here we will run one more properties which will help us to get that. So should be npm run typegen. So that typegen will be responsible to create the properties of the value. As you see right now is the property data is any. I say y to go and proceed. So in the page we will now be able to grab the data. So let's see, to get that user ID, and we're gonna make that a async function, because here we're gonna get the user ID, should be const user ID should be await. Let's say we're gonna grab it from auth, which will be passing the value from our I think Clerk next auth server. And now as you're having that user ID, we can get the orders. Like if we doesn't have the user ID, so user ID is not available, we don't want the user should be coming here, and that time return redirect directly, we're gonna redirect to our home page. Okay, only once a user having the ID, it will be, they will be available to come back here. Now you see we are getting in order page. Now whenever we are coming in order page, now we can grab the orders, should be await, and that time you will make that get my orders, and in the orders we're passing that our user ID. So right now we should be able to get the orders. If we save and let's say put a log just to see if we are receiving that or not, we can face the error, but no worries. If we are facing that, we're gonna fix that, no worries about that. So let's say put a log here, we should get back the orders. What's the error we are facing? Get orders. Okay, yeah, I think okay, client error we are facing, so no worries. In the queries, I think the unexpected character in the queries, so let's roll back to the queries. We will fix the query parameter in the define query. Okay, so that's my orders query here. So in the define query we are getting that underscore type is equal to order. We are passing that order, and Clerk user ID is equal to, we are passing that user ID, the ID which we are passing, and we're making the order. So order data, whatever we're receiving, we are making is descending, and from there we are grabbing that, passing that products, getting all the products. Okay, that's the mistake. That should not be like that. Yeah, that's a simple mistake we are passing here. We need to pass a variable from there by which we need to inject the products in between this parameter. Okay, I think we can fix right now. Yeah, and this time we should be able to grab the order data. As you see, we're getting our product. Okay, and also if we come in the pages, especially if we just click on that in the queries, in the index parameter, as you see, if you're running here order, we should be able to see the order data. So in the order data we are having data any source map counter. Okay, so we supposed to get, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a reload window so to see the view. Okay, it will not be there. Yeah, because previously once you generate that, because that time we are not having the data, So right now, if we are having the data, this time we need to generate it again. So I'm going to type gen again to generate my new data. And while it's generating, let's structure what kind of things we have. We have two array. Remember, we have the currency, we have user ID, discount. Now here is the product value we are having. We're having status, customer name, so everything is good to go. Okay, this time is again is created the value. If we go our index, this time if we check, okay, you see data, my orders query result. So now in that order, we know we have the order ID. So what you can do, you can go and check that payment method, and you know that we are having some of the small mistake which is created by so far. It's not so much, but you need to fix that. So whenever you are doing, be remember again, check the API if working properly, check the value of Stripe is working properly, also get that webhook secret if it's working properly, then it will work. Because for you it will be perfect. For me, because I changed the product ID, the dataset and others, but I forget to change my token, read token and the webhook token, the API token. That's why the problem was erased. I think for you it will be fine. Give it a shot. If you're facing error, let me know in the comments. I will try to reach you out and help. Now, as we are having the data in that properties, we can now showcase that data in our headers. How we can showcase? Remember, simply we can just go and grab that. So we can make, remember how we get the user ID. I think that user also having an ID. So if we log user dot ID, yeah, we have user ID from here also. So we can now check if we have user dot ID, let's say we can make const orders is equal to awaits and say get my orders, and here we're gonna pass that ID. Okay, I think if user ID, that's the one parameter. So let's say cannot find name ID. Oh, sorry, it should be user dot ID. So we should be able to get orders, right? But what's the error? Let's see. Attempting to fetch resources, the type error. Okay, let's reload again. I think it should, yeah, it's happening. It's supposed not be there. So okay, we can make that. We can make let orders is equal to, let's say, null, and here we'll just pass that let orders to grab the orders to once is possible. Now here in the order parameter, so as you see, we can now simply pass the value here. So it should be orders available. If orders dot length and I think in the orders we should be, yeah, we should be get that. If orders dot length is available, gth length is bigger than 0. What's happening? Then passing that something, otherwise passing something should be orders dot length. Okay, let's see. Okay, property length does not providing. Why? That is the orders we are grabbing directly. Is it not coming? It's supposed to come. Yeah, so we're having the orders. If users okay, we are okay, no need to attempt that let's, because we are now featuring that, so no need to capture that. So orders dot length is available, and if that length is bigger than 0, that time only it will affect. So right now, if we just go back, it should provide us the items. Okay, no, it's not providing the items. So I think we can check the orders. So let's log again. Should be orders, and that should be passing the orders value as a. So now if we go back here, okay, go at the bottom, we should, yeah, we are having two data, so orders, so we are passing that orders length. Yeah, we are having, so we can check orders dot length, and we should be able to see 2. Yeah, we have the length, so means we are just misconcepting, we're having some misunderstanding. Ling, let's say orders dot length. Yeah, okay, we're having that. Okay, we need to also cross check because we are setting that, right? So now we will make the NN flag. Whenever the orders is available, only then it will redirect. See, two items. So now we know this user having 2 items of orders. So this way you can grab it perfectly if you wanted to. You can also fetch it in different way. Now we have 2 orders. This time to showcase the orders data. After passing the orders, we will deploy it in Vercel.